And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Bubba and the Bloom, episode 155. It's Thursday night. That means it's FAAB preview time. We're going to preview the Week 19 FAAB for you. Catch up on some recent news, including the first big trade of the trade deadline season, and much, much more. First off, you can follow me on Twitter at BDintric, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod, and my co-host, as always, on Twitter at RyanBHQ. Ryan Bloomfield, how we doing, my friend?
We're doing great. It's been a good day, man. We had a no-hitter today from Mr. I don't know if you saw this, Mr. Backsweat, Dylan Cease. It was Lance Lynn-esque. So he was sweating through that thing.
Washington's a humid place.
Yeah.
And it rained earlier. They had a rain delay turned
there was a rain delay in the first inning. I was gonna text you and say surprised I didn't play this as DFS.
It's probably 200% humidity there.
Yeah. So there was that. We, like you said, we had our first trade. I beat USC as Nebraska today in my college football dynasty. First pitch Arizona registration open. So just a lot of good stuff's going on right now, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Allergies are at a 12. I was telling you before the show, so I apologize to the listeners if I sound like my nose is plugged. Well, because it is. So we're gonna power through them. Don't worry about me on that one. But I'm doing well. It's fun. It's hot as heck out here in California. No one really cares, but it's miserable right now in this great state. So, yeah, we're doing well. But why don't you let everybody know about First Pitch Arizona before we rock and roll with the news of the day?
Yeah, sure. So, like I just said, registration opened up. We've talked about First Pitch for, longtime listeners of the show. We have talked about a bunch in years past, but now it's officially open. Registration's open. You can join us October 31st to November 3rd, although you and I will be coming in November 1st, leaving the 4th. But it's just, I don't know. It's a long weekend of just fantasy baseball bliss. Lots of friends, both new, old. There's panels for three days. There's live Arizona Fall League games. There's live drafts. If anyone is even remotely on the fence, I know it's an investment, both in terms of time, negotiation, perhaps with significant others, and obviously cost. But if anyone's interested in it, has questions, whatever, about coming out to First Pitch Arizona, it is, and I have no skin in this game, neither do you, Bubba, but it's easily one of my favorite weekends of the year. It's 3-4 days of just awesome hanging out with people, having a good time and enjoying baseball and relaxing. So that's my pitch. We're also going to be probably doing some golf on Sunday afternoon, just to cap off these 3 beautiful days on Sunday. So it's going to be fun, man. I cannot wait. If anyone's interested in signing up, probably should start out with that. Go to baseballhq.com. On the right side there is a link to registration. Also, the @baseballhq Twitter account has a link to sign up as well, with details and speakers and all that stuff too.
Yep, go check all that out. As Ryan said, we're going to try to put the Bubba and the Bloom Invitational on Sunday because we won't be there on Thursday as usual. So if you're sticking around on Sunday, that will be getting promoted as well. And we'll try to make that. Looks like we already have about 2 foursomes kind of lined up. So Last year we had 3. Kind of keep building this thing up and have some fun on a Sunday afternoon with no Fall Stars game that Sunday this year. So we'll have fun in that regard. And maybe we'll watch a little end of World Series action. Sometimes been kicking off towards the early days of.
You got to go. You got to go last year.
I was at Game 6 last year. That was awesome. I don't think I'll be going to one this year in Arizona, but you never know. You never know. They just made a big trade today.
I was going to say, AJ Puck may take them to that promised land again.
Yes, as the professionals we are. It's called a segue, folks. First big trade of the night. AJ Puck, or the week, I guess. AJ Puck is acquired by the Arizona Diamondbacks from Miami Marlins. The Marlins received Davison De Los Santos and Andrew Pintar. Pintar is a high A outfielder. It's supposed to be pretty good potential, but long ways to go type thing. De Los Santos, 21 years old, dropping bombs at AAA this year. He's got 28 home runs, the 325 average on the season. Does have quite a big swing and miss. He's at only 22.6% K rate this year. So he's improved that as well. But he was a weird one because I believe he's a Rule 5 guy. I think the White Sox or somebody grabbed him. The Guardians. Guardians grabbed him. Didn't keep him. So he went back to Arizona. And now he's got a chance to play every day if Josh Bell leaves the town. But let's start with AJ Puck, because the first thing I thought of when you sent me the text that said our first big trade, I was like, what's that do to your Paul Sewald shares, Ryan?
I think Sewald's more than safe in the role. I think Puck is the 8th inning lefty matchup guy, whatever. I hope I actually got a response to a tweet I made was, will Arizona move Puck back to the rotation again? I certainly hope not. We saw that experiment. What happened? I think the biggest upshot, I mean, Puck was popular as a save stash. We had talked about Puck and if Tanner Scott gets traded, who steps in Miami? And we say AJ Puck. Well, AJ Puck himself gets traded. So now it's just like, again, assuming Tanner Scott gets traded, which I think is even more likely at this point, who's the guy there? I personally think it's Anthony Bender. The popular opinion, it seems like, is the Nard dog, Andrew Nardi. But I think two things against Nardi. He does have like a 5 ERA. Hasn't really pitched all that well. The skills have been a little bit better than that beneath the surface. But B, if Tanner Scott gets traded, Andrew Nardi is the only lefty in that Miami bullpen. So I don't know, that may be more Miami having to play Nardi as a matchups guy, whenever against lefties. So I think it's going to be Anthony Bender, who has like a 3.99 ERA, decent skills, has closed before, nothing like world beating or anything. And, all this talk for maybe 6-7 saves with the Marlins.
There's where I was going to go with
but
this.
I do. My money's on Anthony Bender. Who knows? Hell, maybe Bender gets traded, but I don't think there's any teams interested in Bender. So I'd go Bender. Most others think Nardi. We shall see. And it there's also this Faucher pitched the 10th.
Yep. He pitched the 10th on
who knows
on Thursday. So I think it's a lot of committee situations there is what I'd be looking at. So that could be fun. But as Michael said in the chat here, hear me out. Sewald has a 7 ERA over the last 30 days. His K-9 is down to 8.5. Puck has been lights out. I could see a kind of situational bullpen coming up there in Arizona where you see Sewald versus righties, Puck versus lefties, maybe leverage situations, stuff along those lines. It just gives the D-backs options, which they haven't really had, which is what you want to do when you're going for a postseason run. That's just the name of the game. And they might even add another reliever here pretty soon. I wouldn't be shocked. Like, go get Carlos Estevez for cheap or something. I don't know. But just depth.
If you have Puck, like I think I have Puck in a couple 15-teamers. Like, I'm planning on dropping him. I just don't think maybe there's a save share there. Maybe we'll get a weekend to see.
Watch the weekend. That
looks like.
Yeah, they're facing Pittsburgh, so you might get a chance or two.
Yeah, that's true. We might, unless it's a Skeens. But I don't know. You have him in any 12s, Puck?
No. I was actually going to put in small bids for him this week. That might have stopped. So we'll see where that goes. But I think Puck in 15 still has some viability, especially as we get deeper into the season and starting pitching it's so bad. Like 3 outings a week from Puck could still be pretty valuable, all things considered, in a 15. So I don't know if I'd go immediate drop, but I get it. If you need other parts on your team, it makes for an easier drop per se. So I get it. All right, before we hit the news that Timothy Lilly just dropped in the chat here, as I looked up at the television to see what he was talking about, Mason Miller of the Oakland Athletics hit the IL after breaking a finger on his non-throwing left hand. He broke his finger after the game on Monday night when he was getting worked on, his normal routine after the game, and told he had to lift, so he slammed his hand down on the table and broke his finger. That is exciting stuff, folks. So he's going to be out for 2 weeks, probably, maybe 3, to see where that one goes. A lot of us thought Lucas Ursig was the guy. He pitched the 8th, but it was you pointed out, Ryan, leverage potentially. Tyler Ferguson is on for the 9th here for the Oakland Athletics.
As we speak.
Yep. So what's your thoughts on this one? Would you go out and get an Ursig? I guess we could watch the weekend and see how, because they're facing Anaheim all week, and that could lead to 2 more save chances still. But you pointed out when we were talking before the show and Ursig came on to the 8th, it was, the best hitter on their team when Gifo was up. So you kind of needed your best reliever. So how are you thinking about this one?
Yeah, it was future Hall of Famer mascot Rengifo at the 2-3-4. So
first ballot Bubba in the Bloom Hall of Famer.
Well, of course, in our Hall of Fame, it's not much to make it there, but
hey, you laugh. We got treats coming people's way if you go to First Pitch Arizona. You laugh now.
That's true. Also, I should have plugged. We're probably doing another live show at First Pitch Arizona. We don't have final say in that, but I'm quite confident
we are. If they don't let us in that room, we'll still do one somewhere else. There will be a live show at
we'll
FAAB.
just go in a courtyard at the bar somewhere and
where you have breakfast at in the morning. We'll take that little corner and nook out. Don't you worry.
Yeah, that's another benefit, seeing our ugly mugs in person doing a live show. I don't know, man. I mean, I still think it's probably Urseg in Oakland's pen. Tonight was a leverage play, but yes, Tyler Ferguson is pitching the 9th as we speak against the Angels. Ferguson, I don't know, too much about him, but just looking at the skills so far this year, he's only pitched 21 innings in the majors. He's a 30-year-old. Does not miss many bats. 11% walk. He has a walk rate. This is a really nerdy stat, but a walk rate higher than a swinging strike rate, which is really bad. That's to have an 11% walk rate and a single-digit swinging strike. So, Urseg, I think Lucas Urseg is the pickup. You just hope that Oakland uses him in the 9th more often than they did tonight and used him in the 8th again against the best part of the Angels order, which isn't saying much.
It isn't saying much. Stephen Crawford mentions teams just playing with saves lately. Dodgers didn't use Hudson or Phillips. Phillips pitched the 7th on Thursday, and Brent Honeywell got the save for the Dodgers. He said Rangers didn't go to Yates. Robertson got the 2-inning save. Yates got the day off. I think that's more just a rest thing for Yates. Yates is still the dude there, but the Dodgers situation will cause headaches, and we have more. We'll talk about that later. Don't you worry when it comes to FAAB with that situation. But it is annoying. But there goes Ferguson picking up the save tonight, folks. Picking up the save. So fun stuff in Oaktown. Christian Yelich, not so fun. Not fun. We kind of I don't say joke about it, but talk about it a lot, that the Brewers are just a back injury away from opening up the playing time situation, and it happened. Christian Yelich goes to the IL with a pretty serious back injury, it looks like. After meeting with a specialist on Wednesday or Thursday, Yelich said he's going to choose rest and rehab to try to get back this season and likely have surgery in the off season. So that's how bad it is, knowing he already needs surgery, which with the back, I'm like, this isn't good. I think he's out at least a month. Let's put it that way. So what are your thoughts on this one? Because this feels to me like it might just be a drop worth gambling on right about now.
Yeah, it makes the Yelich needs to go rest and rehab makes the drop decision, I think, a little tougher, but I still lean drop at this point in the year. But I don't know. It does sound bad. It sounds really bad. And then there's also what can the Brewers do? I feel like the Brewers can go 3 ways with this in terms of backfilling Christian Yelich, who was basically their DH. They could do a little Gary Sanchez, who in 2 catcher leagues, Gary Sanchez, who's now healthy back off the IL. The power there becomes relevant. They could also move Rhys Hoskins to DH and get some Jake Bauers to kind of backfill at first base there. They could also we have talked many times about all the bodies in the outfield for the Brewers. They could get regular playing time for Blake Perkins and Garrett Mitchell if they want to go that route. So ultimately it probably ends up just being one kind of giant rotation, which again is fantasy players, that's our least desired outcome, unless you think otherwise. But I don't know. I think Gary Sanchez maybe, but Eric Haas has been hitting well, catcher too. So I don't know, man.
I think that's why they'll just leave Sanchez at DH primarily, let Haas be the backup catcher. Maybe William Contreras DHs a few more times to let him rest. If you look at when Yelich was playing, he was the primary DH, especially with Sanchez on the IL. Mitchell was playing every day. Frelick was playing every day. And Chourio was playing every day for the most part. Literally over the last week, Perkins had 1 start. So he was definitely the odd man out. So Perkins, you could see even Perkins being a switch hitter and Sanchez being a righty. There could be some more action there. I think they still make a trade because they're still in this thing right now. So I could see them trading for a bat or 2 to come on down in Milwaukee, and that could really shake things up. But initially, I would say Sanchez is the biggest benefactor from this. But they're just literally a phone call away from changing this whole thing. So it's tricky. Yeah, tricky indeed.
At 12s, I think you're dropping Yelich. Is that?
I'm going to. I'm just going to suck it up because these back problems, they never go away. So if he's just going to rest and rehab, and all of a sudden, in 6 weeks, which is over half of the rest of the season, I'm good to go. And then literally he plays every other day or tweaks it again, and I'm not going to play that game. I don't think. So
it's fun. Well, it's not funny, but like one of the reasons why Yelich was moved to DH was to protect his back, and it's, still gets hurt anyway. Like those injuries are tough, man. And Yelich has dealt with it for at least the last 2-3 years. So
I say at the end of last year, he almost missed the whole final month of the year because they kept going. He could have come back, but they already had the playoffs under control, so we rested him. Who's to say that doesn't happen this year? That's definitely an option as well. So I'm pretty much moving on in 12s when it comes to Christian Yelich. That's about the main news for now. Like I was telling Ryan before the show, there's a lot of guys rehabbing. There's guys starting rehab. Some guys like, Royce Lewis is expected back Friday or Saturday. Jose Miranda is expected back Friday or Saturday. Josh Young is heading out to rehab starting Friday. Devin Williams can be back any day now, which can make for Sunday night FAAB very intriguing. There's a long list of these guys. There's a big chunk of players that are either starting the rehabs or they're coming back in the next week. You're gonna have a bunch of names, as Balin says in chat. Kodai Singh is making his start on Friday. We saw Kershaw on Thursday. We saw Robbie Ray on Wednesday. There's a lot of Alex Cobb might pitch Sunday, or they might let Jordan Hicks have one more start, they said, and then bring Cobb back and Hicks goes to the bullpen. There's a lot of moving pieces right now. So just keep your eye on all the news these days, because it's going to open up a lot of options in the free agent world. So
yeah, couple I think big time FAAB weeks coming up, and just a quick show note. We are, with all the trade deadline stuff, since we do our Tuesday night show, and Tuesday is the trade deadline. We both thought it was July 31st, but the deadline is the 30th. We will do a full recap of every single trade for our Tuesday night show in lieu of Bloom boards. So be on the lookout for that.
Yep. Real quick, Michael, let's see in the chat. I thought Friedel was close, but I haven't seen any news. Just looked him up. He's returning on Friday, tomorrow. So as we record on Thursday night, TJ Friedel will be back tomorrow is what the latest update I just saw. So another player coming back to the player pool. Friedel's done that about 3 times this year and leaves within a week. So keep that in mind. But not always his fault. Getting hit on the hand, getting hit here and there.
I wish injury on nobody, but if the season goes as it's gone for TJ Friedel, looking at a broken tibia in the second inning of when he comes back, it would suck. It's been a rough year for him.
Very, very rough. But on that note, Ryan, let's start our FAAB preview of Week 19. Looking at the schedule for the week, what stands out to you here?
For me, it's a lot of 5-game weeks. I feel like this is the highest number of 5-game weeks that we've had in the entire season doing this. We've got the Dodgers with 5, Oakland with 5, San Diego, San Francisco. So all the West Coast teams are just kind of chilling for a couple of days this week, and then Tampa. Tampa also has 5 games. So a number of 5-game teams, and then we'll get to Baltimore, but we do have another 8-gamer in the Baltimore Orioles getting 8 games against 7 righties. So a lot of movement with that roster, which again we'll get to in just a couple minutes. But those are the big things for me. You're muted.
Sorry,
as Bubba curses StreamYard again.
Yeah, no, I've been trying to clear the sinuses out and forgot to unmute this thing. All right,
don't mute it, man. Just let it out there for the listeners to know how much this is, much of a flu game episode this is for you.
No one needs a foghorn in their ears. That's just not what anybody needs around here these days. Let's get started here. Alphabetical order as usual. Start with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The AJ Puck backs are here. 6 games this week. They have 3 at home versus the Nationals, 3 at Pittsburgh. Looks like 4 lefties, 2 righties, which is not the recipe for one Jock Jams.
Yeah, a lot of lefties again, at least so far, which no Jock Jams. Great for Eugenio Suarez, who has probably been picked up in almost all formats given the heater that he's been on, but Suarez mashes lefties, so he will play maybe some Randall Grichuk. I don't know. He's not really any good.
Don't do that to yourself. Don't do it.
I don't see much here. It'll be interesting to see. Corbin Carroll may only lead off twice and may not even play all 6. So that'll be interesting to watch. But I don't know. Arizona's pretty set and forget at the moment.
Yeah, I guess the only thing is the non-hitting side would be maybe AJ Puck. If you think there's a committee there, that'd be an option.
Jomo, your guy is back.
Jomo's back, and literally, he's not.
Jordan
He didn't get the strikeouts against Kansas City, but pitched well. He pitched well in the last few starts before he went on the IL. You could see it was kind of coming back. So that could be a dude. I did want to mention Merrill Kelly and Erod both threw bullpens on Wednesday and Thursday. Kelly Wednesday, Erod Thursday. And if all goes well and they bounce back fine, they could start rehab assignments sometime next week. So keep them in mind. They still have to make a few starts, so it'll be another couple weeks, but they are another couple guys that could be returning for our late, fantasy baseball push. The Atlanta Braves, they have 7 games this week. My God, a 97 WRC plus. That's how far things have fallen
I know,
in Atlanta.
that's wild.
And I know Michael Cicchini had a great tweet on, I think it was today, on Thursday, about them having a worse WRC plus than the Marlins over the last 30 days. Let that sink in for a minute. It's been bad. Braves have 7 games this week. They are at Milwaukee for 3, at home versus the Marlins, those aforementioned Marlins, for 4, 5 righties out of 7 games. So you could go Eddie the Eagle, but I think we're seeing the Eddie the Eagle problems these days there with Eddie. But what else you like when it comes?
Yeah,
like, nacho time.
I think the Eagles' wings have been clipped recently. He has not looked like the mighty bald eagle of old. Nacho Alvarez is the headliner in terms of FAAB. Talked about him a little bit on our last show because we were breaking down kind of the Albies news. The playing time's going to be there. Will the lineup spot be there? Nacho Alvarez hit 7th on Thursday night after hitting 2nd in his first 2 major league games. I think that matters a lot for someone like Nacho Alvarez, who is more a batting average first guy as opposed to homers and steals. So you do want Nacho hitting 2nd. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't go overboard in FAAB for Nacho Alvarez just based on the scouting report. I just don't know how many homers and steals you're going to get there, but we all know, especially in deeper leagues, that you need plate appearances and live bodies at middle infield. It's been rough. So I don't know. Austin Riley's back from paternity leave, so some dad strength power boost coming up for Austin Riley against a pretty weak schedule overall. The pitchers going against Atlanta this week have a 12% strikeout minus walk. That's about all I got for this crew.
It's rough. Not a whole lot except for Nacho on this one. If you want to go Travis d'Arnaud, he's still there and getting playing time, but Nacho's the main guy to target in Atlanta. Baltimore Orioles, 8 games, as you mentioned, this week, and oh boy, is this a schedule, folks. They get Toronto for 4 thanks to a doubleheader on Monday. Then they have 4 over the weekend at Cleveland. Looks like they're going to face 7 right-handed pitchers, which is absolutely outstanding for ya boy. And then also Connor Norby's up, so that's fun too.
Yeah, great week as usual for Ryan O'Hearn. Gets 7 games, 7 righties, which is just awesome. So Connor Norby, I think he can pick it. I watched a good number of the Orioles game today, and Norby made a couple of good plays at second base. Like, I think this is the everyday guy at second base for the Orioles. It's always kind of tough to tell how they're going to play some of these prospects, but with Jorge Mateo, pretty much out of the playing time picture with injury, I think Connor Norby's going to get some run. So I would Connor Norby or Nacho Alvarez. If you're making an infield call.
That's what I was going to go with this. Norby 297, 16, and 13 at AAA. I'd go Norby, and I put out a poll today, and somehow, you guys only 101 votes. Not happy about this, but
that's lower than your other tweet had. So.
That's true. It did underachieve. I said, which of the 2 second base prospects are you adding this week if you could only add one? I did Nacho Alvarez, Connor Norby. Connor Norby.
Oh, really? You did a poll?
Yeah.
Obviously didn't see it. My bad.
71% of the people picked Norby. 71%. Okay.
I
wanted to do a little see, this is me. I wanted to do a little research for the show, Ryan, because I knew this would be a fun topic on the show. Just off the top of my head, experience here. And so I threw the tweet out there to kind of get a feel of what the people were
that is funny how great
you were probably it was 4th and goal against USC. I get it. You were busy.
It was the Twitter algorithm. Since you had some other non-sports related tweets this week, I think it kind of phased you out from my feed. So I didn't.
You need to go to that For You tab. I was told it's pretty cool. I gotta know.
I just didn't see it. So no, I would prioritize Norby over Nacho. The last part that I have with Baltimore, I think we have a listener question on this. Heston Kierstad, even though it is a 7-game righty week for Baltimore, has only played 3. He's only started 2 of the last 5 games, and 4 of those 5 have been against right-handed pitching. So Heston Kjerstad is just not playing enough to warrant being started in 15 teamers right now. You got to have playing time. He doesn't have it.
The other guy I'll mention, you can go back to the Moo guy, Colton Cowser. He's hit a couple home runs of late. He'll get a ton of playing time, so that's one you could peek at as well. He's 83% rostered in 12s NFBC OCs, but probably widely available in other formats. So check him out as well. Boston Red Sox, they have 6 games this week, 3 at home versus Seattle, 3 at the Texas Rangers, all right-handed pitchers. So we might have a David Hamilton weekend with no issues. That would be so much fun to think about, Ryan.
It would. And Hamilton, I mean, well, yeah, he pretty much is a strict platoon. Did start against one lefty, but they had a stretch of 4 lefties in a row. So probably just Hamilton be in there. But yeah, big week for David Hamilton ahead. Will probably hit second as he normally does against righties, and God, he is 98% rostered in 12s.
Yep. Oh yeah,
I didn't think it was that high. He was on a few waiver wires in my 15s the last couple of weeks, and I don't think I put in very high bids for David Hamilton. But you'll also get some Wilyer Abreu, who's been kind of on the struggle bus lately, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, the rest are pretty much like in deep formats. Do we go Dom Smith on this one? Should we throw it out there? He's been better than you think. He's been better than you think. He's been better than you think.
35 team mixed leagues. You'd go there deep.
The disrespect.
Has he been good?
In July, he's hitting 292. Only 2 homers, but hitting 292 in that lineup.
How old is Dominic Smith? Just
do you care to guess? I have it right here. I was fan.
Okay, I just pulled. He's only 20. I feel like Dominic Smith is like
he's younger 35.
Than I thought. He's 29 years old still.
Yeah, that was like he feels like he came up with Dimitri Young or something.
Oh,
yeah, that's old. That's old for you young whippersnappers out there. So, Chicago Cubs, they have 7 games this week. They go into Great American Small Park for 3, and then at home versus the Cardinals for 4. 2 lefties and 5 righties. Looks like 2 righties and 1 lefty in Great American. That's Green and Lodolo in 2 of those 3. So not the easiest week for the Cubs, but 2 lefties, 5 righties. Not much I'm looking for. So I'm not doing Talkman. I'm not doing PCA. Anything interest you there with the Cubs?
No, I was just looking at PCA's numbers while you were talking there. He had that kind of famous 2 home run game, I think, right before the break.
Yep.
And Pico Armstrong's last 31 days has 2 home runs, is hitting 141 with 6 RBI and 5 runs. Does have 5 steals there, but I to quote Denny Green, I think he is who we thought he was, and that's pretty much just a stolen base guy with nothing else. So, yeah.
Yep. Chicago White Sox, they have 6 games this week, 3 at home versus the Royals, 3 at the Minnesota Twins, 6 righties on the docket. The biggest question is who's going to be on the White Sox by midweek. Next week would be my biggest thoughts. And other than that, not a whole lot I'm looking to add really either.
Not really. We talked about Brooks Baldwin a little bit last week. So far for Baldwin has a 40% strikeout rate and just 20 plate appearances. But, so far it hasn't looked good. A lot of whiffs, a lot of Ks for Brooks Baldwin. So, and well below the Norby Nacho tier for middle infield. And yeah, this by like Luis Robert gets dealt, which I'm kind of expecting he does. I would think Tommy Pham gets dealt. Like this lineup is already bad, and it may go below Seattle Mariners level after this week.
Yeah, this lineup might be one of the worst lineups we'll see in the history of baseball. Honestly, I'm not even. I know it sounds pretty, I don't know, stupid, but this is a bad team, like a really bad team, and there ain't much down. Like at least we'll get Oscar Colas, I guess, for a week. But is that really what our full season? Is that what we really want? Like it's a bad team. It's a bad baseball team. So sorry, Mike Carter and company. All right, we have the Cincinnati Reds. They have 6 games this week, all in Great American Small Park, which is what we always love to hear, Ryan. It's the Cubs, it's the Giants, it's 3 lefties and 3 righties.
That's the problem for any streamers. The Jake Fraley, Will Benson, Reese Hines for as much FAAB love as Reese Hines.
Sucking it up.
Well, he's barely been playing. Well, I wouldn't say barely been playing, but he's not really playing against right-handed pitching. So it looks like Reese Hines is on a short side platoon with your former boy, Austin Slater, joining him on the right
Slater
side.
Sucks.
And then
I hope they DFA Slater. Do not do this again, people.
Scar tissue there. And then you get TJ Friedel coming back too to even further cloud the picture. So while it is, that golden all home week for Cincinnati, the 3-3 split lefty righty against, it's a pretty tough 3-3 too. It's Jamison Tyon who's been pitching well.
Yeah.
Justin Steele's been good. If Blake Snell is still on the Giants, you get Blake Snell there and Robbie Ray, who looked damn good. So not the biggest walk in the park from a opposing pitcher standpoint. So I don't see much. What are you doing with Noelvi Marte?
You keep starting him, or you at least you bench him. At worst, you're not dropping him. You don't move on from him. You keep rolling him. He's fine. What I was going to mention with the Reds is they've said they're sellers. Jonathan India is a hot name right now. And if he moves on, the question is, if you want to start speculating on stuff, is who takes his spot. And like Santiago Espinal doesn't do it for me. I was looking in their minors, like Levon Soto, maybe, but not really excited about that. Tony Kemp's down there. Like the replacements aren't great for India. So like I was going to mention, India could be moving on. That's been a name that's been widely discussed. I know they're trying to shop Fraley around, and maybe even Friedel. So there are guys that have been, and Montas, like he's scheduled to face somebody next week in the first half of the week. I already looked the Cubs. Montas is on the table. So there's a lot of moving parts in Cincinnati. Keep that in mind. All right. Cleveland Guardians, they have 6 games this week, 3 at Detroit, 3 at home versus Baltimore, 1 lefty, 5 righties. Another team that seems like they're pretty loaded up, though.
Yeah, pretty loaded up. I was gonna, I have to mention Will Brennan. That ship.
We have breaking news. Randy Arozarena has been traded to the Seattle Mariners.
No way! Right on.
Yep. Just got that news. Once I find out more of the trade, I will pass that along. But just got that notification. Randy Arozarena has been traded to the Seattle Mariners. Business is picking up, folks.
Passan confirmed? What are we doing here?
It's the underdog, which I trust them because they research. I'm waiting for Passan. Passan usually waits for the whole deal to come through first.
Awesome.
So like I said, once I get more news, I will pass it along on the show, or if Ryan gets it, whatever. But we'll get that spread on here. But yeah, all I'm seeing is Randy. Like all the beat reporters from Seattle are saying Randy Arozarena is traded to the Seattle Mariners.
We welcome the Randy man with open arms here in the Pacific Northwest.
I'm fine with it.
That. Yep.
If he can hit in Tampa Bay, he can hit in Seattle. Like the offense is actually worse around him, but who cares?
And it really shouldn't cost anyone. That corner outfield sucks in Seattle. Like Victor Robles is the one I want to keep playing. I think he will definitely keep playing while Julio Rodriguez is out. So I don't know. Luke Raley, Mitch Haniger, whatever.
More of a Mitch Haniger problem.
Playing time. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Good on the Mariners for making a move. We'll see what they give up, but that's cool, man. I like that. I'm happy.
I'll keep you posted on that for sure. And like Timothy says in the chat, we haven't got to Tampa Bay yet, but it could be Johnny DeLuca season. I think Camaro's coming up soon. We'll get to Tampa Bay in a minute. We'll start speculating there when we get to them. But back to Cleveland. I said there wasn't a lot I was interested in there. Did you have something before I cut you off for the Arozarena news?
No, I was on my Will Brennan diatribe. So we were losing listeners quickly. So thank you for we were bleeding. So thanks for putting me back on the rails.
Good. I did my part there. So that makes me feel a little better on this one. All right, we'll move on to the next club here. Colorado Rockies. They have 6 games this week, all on the road. The anti-Great American this week. 3 at the Angels, 3 at the Padres, including the no-no guy himself, Dylan Cease. 5 righties for the Rockies to face. They said that that Ryan McMahon will not be traded because why not? Because the Rockies are just stupid, like beyond. I've used that word a lot with these bad teams, but we're at that point in the season. They're just proving their incompetence at this point in time. But anybody of interest with all these righties on deck, I'm not going Jake Cave. Michael Toglia, if you're desperate for power, is what I would say.
Yeah, I'm not going to cave and go with Jake Cave. Toglia, you still really like him. He does legitimately have a ton of power. So
he actually stole a base this week.
He's got 4 on the year. So got a little bit there. But batting average is going to kill you. But there's no one else in Colorado.
Yeah. Real quick, I know we're going to be jumping all over the place now, so please I'll try to keep it as close to the show as possible. But with breaking news, Greg Smith says bad sign for Julio. That was my first thought too. But they were going to do this before Julio's injury at the same time. They've mentioned about 4 different guys. Like they want to add a couple bats. So I think it's just kind of, it might actually be good news for Julio. Like he's going to come back soon. So we're going to build around him and try to go for it this year.
They needed to make a move with Julio. Without Julio, whatever. I don't think it's a bad sign for Julio at all.
Detroit Tigers, they have 6 games this week, all at home. Cleveland, Kansas City Royals, 5 righties. And Detroit's offense on the season at 93 WRC plus, they're like right behind the A's as like the best run scoring team in July right now. So they're putting up some runs there in Detroit. Colt Keith has been a big point of that, and even Veerling's been starting to hit again. He's been streaky. We talked about him off and on throughout these seasons. Justin Henry Malloy, though, Ryan, we kind of talked about him recently. Dude is hitting third and hitting well these days. So I think it's time to really start approaching the ad situation for him.
That's what I was going to bring up with Justin Henry Malloy. Over the last month, 5 homers, hitting 274, has thrown a bag in there as well. There's some strikeouts there, but the kid's 24. The power looks awesome. Like the barrels look really good. There's talent. He's playing every single day. I think Justin Henry Malloy. Let me look up his 12-team ownership. 6%. That seems like a market inefficiency for someone who has pretty good prospect pedigree and seems to be adjusting quite well to major league pitching right now. So yes, Justin Henry Malloy for me is the top ad on the Tigers this week. I must pat myself on the back so far. Watch him get hurt or something this weekend for Wenzel Perez. I think we keep rolling with him with the 5 righty week. So Wenzel Perez has been really good, and Javi Baez hit a home run today, man.
Second of the year. Impressive stuff there. But I tweeted or texted you earlier this week. After Jesus Sanchez made us happy. I mentioned, hey, Wenzel went deep also, and then he stole a bag the next day. So I added, like, those were 2 of my more targeted outfield streams this week, were those guys, and it's been paying off so far, which is nice. Michael in the chat says Colt Keith found his truck, resurrected his dog, and got the old lady back. Yep, that's about right. That's
recorded a music video, and he's back.
Pretty much on track. But yeah, Detroit, they do this every year. I remember talking like them and the Pirates and some of these bad teams. The last couple of months, awesome for fantasy. They are like cheap and they're good, and the A's are doing it right now. We'll get to them. I'll save that for later, but I love the A's right now. Houston Astros, 6 games this week, all at home. Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay on the docket. The Astros are active for Isaac Paredes. Vlad Guerrero's even been mentioned there, even though Jay said they're not trading them. They want a first baseman, and they want a right-handed first baseman. So keep that in mind. 1 lefty, 5 righties on the week now for Houston. Not much for me in this one.
No, and Joey Loperfido, it's not coming together for him so far. I agree the Astros need to make a move at first base. John Singleton is not the answer there. Trey Cabbage is getting platoon time. He may play 5 times, or they trade for someone to get there. So I don't see really anything here for the Astros. I think they will be active at the deadline, because it does not sound like Kyle Tucker.
No. Like
he may be out for the year.
Hey, first off, the only time Cabbage is good is on St. Patrick's Day. Second, who plays more games the rest of this year, Christian Yelich or Kyle Tucker?
I'm still recovering from that Cabbage line. I'll go Yelich. Yeah, I'll go Yelich.
That's how bad the Tucker situation's got, folks. Like, I haven't dropped him yet, but I feel like I just need to, just to cleanse myself of even worrying about it. But he's so darn good.
I mean, we saw a report today that it's basically September at this point.
Yeah.
So,
like they said, he's ramping up activities, but he still won't be back for at least a month. It's like, he's not ramping up activities. Like, what are we doing here, people? It's been some of the most weird reporting ever. All right. Kansas City Royals, they have 7 games this week, all on the road. They have 3 at the White Sox, which is always very, very nice, and 4 at the Detroit Tigers. And who knows if Skubal or Flaherty will be there for that game. So that could be a really nice week ahead for Kansas City. For now, it's 2 lefties and 5 righties, which this team's good. I did see a weird stat, though, this year, Ryan. The home road splits for Kansas City. People are thinking the Royals might have something going on in Kansas City right now.
Yeah, pure speculation. I think that if you saw the tweet that I saw, it was Bobby Witt's home road splits.
Yeah,
Bobby Witt's hitting like something like 420 at home and low twos something away. I have no idea, but that is interesting and possibly, I mean, a takeaway if it is an all 7 road game like it is for Kansas City this week. In terms of like actual players, I always like Michael Massey, but like, dude, he did not start Sunday against a righty. I'd like to see a little bit more playing time. This is almost I think like a get right week for Michael Massey, or a put up or shut up type week for Massey, because he hasn't really done much since coming back from the IL.
Yeah, it's been kind of hit and miss with him. I'll give you that. Do you know who's been a little more, productive of late? Not like great, but if you're in a deeper format, don't sleep on Kyle Isbell, who you've, pumped up in recent earlier this year. It's not an everyday thing. He's done a couple 3-hit games of late, and that with that offense clicking again, maybe it's a home road thing, so maybe it's not the time to do it. But in your deep formats, like if you're doing a heavy waterfall, I'd have Isbell somewhere on there if you need an outfielder, because I think he'll be pretty productive, especially with 5 righties on the docket this week. Los Angeles Angels of Rengifo. They have 6 games this week. Colorado and the Mets all at home. 3 lefties, 3 righties, and they should be fire selling that team. So I don't even know who's going to be suited up by Wednesday afternoon in Anaheim.
Yeah, we know it's not going to be Mike Trout, unfortunately, who had the rehab, but then I think left after like 2 innings. So that seems to be further out. Yeah, you're not adding anyone on the Angels unless it is speculating on.
Do you go get Ben Joyce?
But Ben Joyce did not look good tonight. I think he threw over 30 pitches against Oakland.
He's got massive control issues. It's always been his thing. Like, throws gas, but no control. He's Camilo Duvall, light.
Yeah, at least so far.
Yeah.
So I still think Estevez gets traded. And Ben Joyce will be the popular AJ Puck type, dart throw. I don't know if that comes together or not this year.
It'll be interesting to see. Los Angeles Dodgers, 5 games this week, as you mentioned earlier. It's 2 on the first half of the week, 3 over the weekend. They face San Diego for 2 to start the week in San Diego. And then they go to Oakland for 3 against the A's. 4 righties on set. Outman's back. Don't think he's going to play much because he came up for Chris Taylor, so Hayward's still on the way. But it just makes it so hard to add any Dodgers right now.
You did kind of call that last week. I was talking about Outman, and you were like, well, Hayward's coming back, so Outman probably gets optioned to AAA, and that's exactly what happened. But I guess Outman's back because Chris Taylor's hurt. The biggest thing with me at the Dodgers is like what the hell this rotation's going to look like going forward. There's just so many moving parts. In listening to the First Pitch podcast this morning, I found out that Landon Knack got sent to AAA after he pitched pretty well against your Giants. So River Ryan at least gets another start, but I just don't know when. I don't know when Buehler's coming back. Buehler's is pitching in AAA, right?
He's making Buehler's rehab start on Friday. He's going to make at least one more start next week. The goal is to have Buehler either in next weekend or early the following week. So Ryan's supposed to pitch this Sunday. Ryan might have like 2 more starts if Buehler comes back, is the way I look at it.
Yeah, that to me is the biggest. And I almost think like there's no winner here. Like I don't either River Ryan and or Landon Knack. I just don't know. You're the chances of them staying in a fully healthy rotation, I think, are pretty low. But also, flip side of that, what are the odds that the all Dodgers pitchers?
I just about to say Kershaw went 4 innings in his return. Buehler's got the issue, wasn't great on the mound and got hurt. Who knows when Bobby Miller comes back? There's still a lot. Gavin Stone is he going to hit an innings wall? Like, they need a 6-man rotation. Honestly, that's what they need to do if they want to keep these guys going. So I'd add River Ryan this weekend if they have him going for one more start next week. I'm just not going to go crazy with it.
Yeah, like you can't bid much if you're planning on another 1 or 2 starts. Like.
And it's at Oakland. If that's the one that comes around, it's at Oakland, which is cool. But again, not getting too excited on this one. All right, Ryan, are you ready for the trade summary here?
We got returns.
Randy Arozarena goes to the Mariners. 2 prospects, Aiden Smith and Brody Hopkins. No idea.
No, me neither.
And a player to be named later. So could have been pretty sweet as well.
All right.
Could be a good deal for Seattle. We'll wait and see.
Do we know how many years? This is good podcast. Like, we should be researching.
Hey, this is Hey,
How many years on Randy's contract?
I got it for you right here. Hey, this is live breaking stuff. It's the fun. He's a free agent 27.
Whoa,
So those got to be some good prospects.
they have
That's
to be.
all I'm going to say.
Who were they? What's the
Aiden,
names again?
Yeah, I got him right here. Aiden, God damn it, I lost it. There it is. Aiden Smith and Brody Hopkins. Yeah, if you could find out on HQ real quick what they got on that, or wherever you're.
Yeah, Brody Hopkins is the 7th prospect overall for the Mariners, and I can't spell. Oh, there's Aiden Smith, 21st.
Wow.
Per Fangraphs, the number 20.
Yeah.
Aiden Smith is the 21st prospect in the organization, and Hopkins is 7th. So,
and they're getting a player to be named later. Always a big asset.
Yeah.
So,
So who knows? Neither of us are prospects guy, and I always hate the snap. Oh, they only gave up, those prospects. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but I would have thought they would have to had traded Harry Ford, but they did not. So
yeah, and the thing is, Smith is a single layer. He's 20 years old, so. And if I just last bit of since we're so good at prospects, this is the last thing I'll mention. And they're both single A. One's 20 and Hopkins is 22, so both are a ways away as well.
Well, Hopkins is a pitcher too. Yeah,
that's a pretty on paper seems pretty sweet.
And I thought there was only one more year of control for Randy, so that's I mean, Randy Arozarena is hitting 211. I know batting average is an old ass stat for real life, but maybe we're overvaluing Randy. I don't know, but if you're the Mariners, that seems like a no brainer.
That seems pretty legit, and it makes me wonder why no one else could match that. All right, it's back to the regularly scheduled program, unless we have another breaking news bit here. Miami Marlins, they have 6 games next week, all on the road, 3 at the Rays and 3 at the Atlanta Braves. 5 right-handed pitchers for the Marlins, so we don't have to do our song and dance anymore. He should be rostered by now, folks. Like, come on, what are we doing here? He's up to 60% now in OCs. He's moving up. He's climbing. Jesus Sanchez, fix it, people. But there's another guy, but I'll let you have the floor here first. There's another guy I like a lot.
Has officially been anointed backup mascot, but behind Luis Rengifo at this point, Jesus Sanchez, who just continues to deliver, and very much so under the radar, at least until this week. Another good week for Xavier Edwards, who we've talked about. Couple steals, really good batting average. Saw a couple of his plate appearances today against Baltimore, and just very, very good plate approach. Was very impressed with Xavier Edwards. And again, we've talked about it. If Jazz Chisholm gets traded, Xavier Edwards is absolutely a candidate to hit lead off or near the top of the lineup, which would be a major boon for Xavier Edwards' fantasy value. And Xavier Edwards is 35% rostered in 12 teamers. So go out there and get him, guys.
Yep, I added him in a lot of 15s this past week. I like him in 12s as well. He got called up on July 2nd. He had a couple more hits on Thursday, but heading into Thursday, since his recall, 381 average, 10 runs scored, 6 RBIs, and 4 steals. Only a 15% carry with a 13.5% walk rate. Got another steal on Thursday, too. Very productive young ball player. So I think that's a good one going forward. He's going to play pretty much every day, as we talked about before. Milwaukee Brewers, they have 6 games this week, 3 at home versus the Braves, 3 at the Washington Nationals, 3 lefties, 3 righties. Maybe Gary Sanchez and a catcher too, like we talked about at the start of the show, but not much else for me there.
Yeah, I guess we won't repeat ourselves from the Yelich news at the top, but seeing the Brewers get 3 lefties this week is probably, a good, if you need a second catcher streamer, Gary Sanchez is at least probably playing 3 times at DH against lefties there. So if you just need a plug-in streamer for your second catcher, El Gary is there for you.
Minnesota Twins, they have 6 games this week, 3 at the New York Mets, 3 at home versus the White Sox, 2 lefties, 4 righties. We get a mini line change this week, I'll call it a mini line change with the Twins.
Well, we got a new entry to the line change, and that's Edouard Julien.
No, you don't. Because I said Royce Lewis is coming back Friday, and Miranda's coming back Friday or Saturday. If Edouard Julien is still there by Sunday night FAAB, I will be beyond shock. I'm not going to say it. I'll be beyond shock. I'm just going to leave it there before he's really stupid, like I did last night.
That's why we pay you the big bucks to keep on with this. So yes, scratch the Edouard Julien. He wasn't rosterable, and anyway, so.
Yeah, so it's our normal line change. Walner actually got dropped a lot of places last week. That made me kind of laugh, but it's a good time to get back on the Walner train because he went deep on Wednesday, and that's what he does. New York Mets.
Just going real quick back to the Mariners trade. Twitter, of course, with is
the experts.
very the experts. Again, I'm one of them. Very, very much pro Mariners on this.
Yeah, like I know the Welsh who I like a lot. He's just like Welsh was speculating on who would be the return, and when he saw the return, he's just like his actual quote. He quote tweeted it. Done voicing thoughts on trades. So here you go. That's a trade.
My biggest thing though, so like I always hate. I'm not calling anybody out, whatever. I always hate these snap judgments on trades because it's all there's a market, and like so. Obviously, the Rays, like this was the best they could get for Randy Arozarena. I always go back to that. Like it's not like they just have a direct line to the Mariners and don't talk to anyone else, and this is all they could get. Point. Like I always say that with every trade. It's just every team has done their due diligence and tested the market, and this is the most they could get. So that's
it's that, and the Mariners or the Rays are a smart team. I heard it talked about earlier this season. They always have so many guys who go, why would you trade this guy? It's because they only have so many guys for the 40-man roster because they get all these young players on all these trades. So now if you get 2 single-A guys, they have a lot more control over them before they have to start moving around like some of these AAA pieces they can only hold on to for so much longer. There's a big business part behind it, kind of like Ryan was talking about there. It's not just like they just took a bad deal. Like there's a lot of layers to it that we're not paying attention to as Ryan knows on the recruiting trail on College Football 25.
A lot of layers to this stuff.
Yes. All right. The New York Mets, they have 6 games this week, 3 at home versus the Twins, 3 at the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Real quick, before we move on from the Twins, because I saw Okert's name here, David Festa was great as the piggyback guy, 4 1/3, 7 Ks. He, I think, will stay as the piggyback guy until Paddock somehow returns. So we might get a Festa start this next week. So I feel like we always kind of skip over the pitching aspects of these, and it just dawned on me as we were talking here. On paper, it could be against the Mets if that's how it lines up. Keep an eye on reports there. Maybe they don't do it, but I think they should do it. That's just my 2 cents. So that's where I would lean. But back to the Mets, 2 lefties, 4 righties.
No, that's a great call on Festa. We should have missed that. And Chris Paddock, does he really deserve a rotation spot once he comes back anyway?
He doesn't.
So anyway, the Mets, if we stay on the pitching side, so Tyler McGill is back in the rotation and supposed to start Saturday against the Braves. So
starting Friday, moving up to Friday.
Okay.
Oh, Saturday. Sorry, Senga's Friday. Right, you're right.
It's Senga, McGill, and then I think Peterson to round it out against the Braves. So, and Tyler McGill, honestly, I didn't think pitched that bad from a skills perspective before he was sent back down to AAA. So I think Tyler McGill in 15s is bid worthy again this week. But
let me give you something on McGill before you move on to your other players there. Since he got sent down, or I guess he's made 7 starts at AAA this year, some before he got called up, some afterwards. But he's got a 43 Ks in 27 1/3 innings. I guess I'll be more professional here and do since he got sent down in July. Miguel's made 3 starts, hit a 4.05 ERA, 20 Ks in 13 innings. So still tons of strikeouts. He had 11 walks, though, so it's a control thing. But I'm with you. I think there's like that avenue where he was so good at one time. Could he get his shot here by Christian Scott's out?
Yep. In terms of the hitting side of the Mets, there's not much here. Harrison Bader's hurt, so my guy, Tyrone Taylor, is playing center field. It doesn't sound like the Bader injury is all that serious, but if it is, again, always a sucker for some Tyrone Taylor playing time. Would be the center fielder against lefties and righties, I think, if Bader injury is bad, but it doesn't sound that way. So that's all I got for the Mets.
Matt Thompson thinks it's actually a very good return for the Rays. So there you go. That's lots of levels to these things. New York Yankees, 6 games next week, 3 at the Phillies, 3 at home versus the Jays, 1 lefty, 5 righties. But again, it's the Yankees, and they're pretty widely rostered.
Agreed. You mentioned Jason Dominguez last week, so if we're talking stashes, there could be something there. We put I think Ryan Williams at HQ wrote a Playing Time Tomorrow column on just how bad Alex Verdugo's been lately. So like even if Giancarlo Stanton comes back, I still think there's an avenue for Jason Dominguez to get playing time there. The back half of the Yankees lineup is pretty bad. So Dominguez, I think, is a decent stash. Outside of that, nothing immediate looks any good for the Yankees. Good call on Austin Wells, by the way, last week. Well done.
So far, so good on that one. We'll see if that continues. Ben Rice is getting a little burnt at the moment. He's platooning now, so keep that in mind. Oakland Athletics, they're one of the 5-game teams this upcoming week here. They have 2 against the Giants early in the week, 3 against the Dodgers at San Francisco, home versus the Dodgers, 2 lefties, 3 righties. It's tough because of the 5 games, but I just want to shout out, obviously, the law is amazing. But Schumann has been awesome. Not Schumann. I just totally butchered that.
No, yeah, that's Max Schumann.
Yeah, Max Schumann. The way your face, I'm like, wait a minute.
So I was wondering who you're going with after Lawrence Butler. I was like, who the hell is he going to bring up? But yeah, you're right. Max Schumann
has been. I had him over Xavier Edwards in a lot of my because Schumann actually has power. Also, he's got power, speed, and average. Love Schumann. Miguel Andujar, your boy, has actually been very good, like over 300 batting average. Keep playing that one out. You just keep riding these guys while you can. They're the best team in offense in July right now, and it's no joke. So just keep running the A's out while you can. Just sucks there's only 5 games this week, but you could probably get them for cheap to speculate for the following week, and where they face the White Sox for 3 and then at Toronto. Like that's a phenomenal schedule coming up the next week.
Yep, and then again, just to reiterate, monitor the Tyler Ferguson / Lucas Erceg quote unquote battle for the 9th in Oakland.
And I guess it's the A's, though. I don't know if there's much here, but I'll throw it out here just because we're trying to play with our crystal balls. Brent Rooker will be traded, folks, so be prepared for that. He's the primary DH, so going forward, I wouldn't really do much this week, but like a Seth Brown, if it's the right week, he could be a good one to play with and see who maybe comes in return because there's not much there outside of this. But we thought that a few weeks back, and they're all starting to crush baseball, so who knows in Oaktown. Philadelphia Phillies, they have 6 games coming up here, 3 at home versus the Yankees, 3 at the Seattle Mariners, 1 lefty, 5 righties for the Fighting Phils. But that could be good for Bryson Stott if he was dropped anywhere. He might play 5 games this week, but otherwise it's pretty bad.
Agreed. I'm looking now. Brandon Marsh is 95% rostered in 12, so pretty much widely owned. So I got nothing else here for the Fighting Phils.
Yep. Pittsburgh Pirates, they have 6 games coming up, 3 at the Astros, 3 at home versus the D-backs, 2 lefties, 4 righties. Keep getting your rowdy action on there. The Palacios thing's been annoying because he plays well when he plays, but they're fidgeting there. I'd still go for him. But what do you like here with Pittsburgh?
It's tough with Palacios, even Jack Sawinski in a 4-game week. You're not getting much volume there. Rowdy is playing against lefties. He's hitting. We love him. That's my guy O'Neal Cruz is, while Bo Bichette's at home getting his calf massaged the last couple of weeks, my guy, your Bichette, my guy O'Neal is just very much running away with that beer bet, by the way.
Yeah, I think you just jinxed it, but good. San Diego Padres, they're one of the 5-game teams coming up here, all at home, though. They get the Dodgers for 2 early in the week, and then they finish the weekend with 3 against the Rockies. 3 lefties and 2 righties makes things very complicated.
Yeah, but again, most boring team in terms of changes, both lineup, rotation, whatever. I'm not looking at any Padres. Haven't been for the last few weeks since Xander Bogaerts' return.
San Francisco Giants, they have 5 games as well, 2 against Oakland early in the week, and then 3 at Great American, which could be fun. Just depends on what Giants are going to be there. 2 lefties and 3 righties on the week. When it goes to Great American, it's 2 righties and 1 lefty. That's what you'd be targeting. But Yaz is being shopped right now. I wouldn't pick him up anyways. But it's Conforto would be a dude. Tyler Fitzgerald's been amazing right now. It's a mixed bag of fun in San Francisco.
So what is your take on Fitzgerald? Because I think I agree. There's not enough games for the Giants for this week, and B, I don't see much else. Curious, but I'm just curious. Obviously, this isn't Tyler Fitzgerald like what we saw the last week. But what's the staying power like here?
I think it's there for a while because right now Tyro's a drop, folks. I hate to go there.
Whoa.
Tyro's basically platooning with Brett Wisely right now while Fitzgerald plays shortstop. When Fitzgerald slumps, things will move around again, but it's going to be so inconsistent. It's going to be very difficult right now. But Fitzgerald's always showcased pretty good power, just a lot of swing. I wouldn't go as far as Javi Baez type profile, but there's a lot of that in there. If that makes sense to anybody. A lot of swing and miss, a lot of chase, but a ridiculous amount of power as he's shown. So it's kind of a hit and miss type deal. So I like him. Ride him while he's hot. Just be prepared to jump ship. Like I'd rather have Max Schumann or Xavier Edwards because I think I
Okay.
feel better. I feel better with them for like the entire season. And as FAAB numbers get smaller and you need every dollar you have, I think I'd play the whole season in the hot hand and Fitzgerald.
Never thought I'd say this, but you're right. You're right, just in general.
Yeah, I was about to say, God, he's like my ex-wife. Never thought you'd say this. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Thairo Estrada has officially entered Gene
He's a
Segura
drop.
territory.
Yep,
Yeah, he
he's
is.
a
I
drop.
have him started on a bunch of 15 teamers. Dude,
Yep.
the last month, 42 plate appearances,
Yep.
0.98 batting average, no homers, no steals, 1 run, 4 RBI for
Yep.
Thairo.
You got my number. Like I'm a text away. So anytime you have a question, I got you on the Giants.
Why am I starting Thairo in 15 teamers?
Because you're a fighting Cornhusker right now.
Yeah, gotta reprioritize.
Yeah. Real quick, since we talked about Tyler Phillips last week. You were big on Tyler Phillips. Greg Smith wants to know: do you think Tyler Phillips can hold a rotation spot with Philly? I know he's taking Taijuan Walker's spot. Walker stinks, but they paid Walker, so that's the dilemma. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, with Phillips, I don't know. Like, I think for now he has the spot. I just don't think Walker's like that good. But again, Phillies have other reasons for starting him. And the other thing with Phillips, like, there's just not a lot of strikeout upside there. So I have Phillips in a lot. I like him, but it's more so as a 15 team streamer. I don't know if you can start Phillips. Like, he's not even on the RotoWire probable grid for next week.
Walker's expected back.
Yeah, Walker's tentatively scheduled for August 2nd. So I don't know.
Sucks.
Yeah,
Seattle Mariners. Randy in town, should be in the beautiful colors, but their first 3 games of the week are in Boston, then 3 at home versus Philly. Those Phillies you mentioned. 1 lefty, 5 righties coming up here. Who do you like in Seattle with a schedule like that?
I mean, nobody, dude. Am I supposed to name somebody?
This is who you like. You like Cooper Criswell, Nick Pivetta, Brian Bayo.
Yeah, exactly.
You like Phillips if he does make the start, Suarez and Wheeler. Those are the guys you like next week.
And if to go back to the Phillips question, if Phillips does get a start against Seattle, I am all over that. So,
yeah, Cooper Criswell. Sorry, that's a whole nother subject. That's an interesting pickup in Criswell. Back to the Mariners. Anybody for you? Luke Raley, maybe? No.
I mean, I'll just give Victor Robles another shout out. I mean, picked up his 12th steal this week and just continues to, in the wake of Julio's injury, not only play center field but hit second. So I'll just reiterate that Victor Robles, I think, is a really good add in the outfield if you need speed. 37% rostered in 12 team NFBC formats.
And I mentioned Cooper Criswell because he has faced Seattle, but he came back, made his first start since the All-Star break where they sent him to AAA, kind of the DJ Hers method. And Criswell went into Coors Field for 7 shutout innings with 4 strikeouts.
Pitched well, yeah.
So he's going to be a popular stream, so we know that ship usually sinks, but I'd be willing to get on the Titanic for that one and see how it goes because Seattle, they made Griffin Candy look good. It's bad right now. St. Louis Cardinals, one of the few 7 gamers this week. We got a few, but one of the few. Texas for home versus Texas for 3, at Wrigley for 4, 3 lefties and 4 righties for the Cardinals.
Yes, but I don't. I mean, Lars Nootbaar's back, but he's rostered in every league. Maybe some Nolan Gorman, but he's a platoon guy. It's a 3-4 split. I don't like any Cardinals this week.
Yeah,
unless I'm missing something.
No, you're not. You're not missing anything because the Barrelson's already picked up, so that's all that matters. Tampa Bay Rays, they have 5 games this week, all on the road. 2 at the Marlins in the first half of the week. 2 at home versus the Marlins. 3 at the Houston Astros to finish the week. All righties though for Tampa, but a 5-game week.
Right. So the question is now, like, what does Randy Arozarena's vacated spot look like in left field? I think we had a comment earlier about
Johnny
DeLuca time. I don't know how much playing time DeLuca gets against righties. He did hit 8th against a righty Thursday night, so maybe Johnny DeLuca. Let's see what the weekend brings. And again, it's just a 5-game week, so I don't know. I'm probably playing wait and see on a pickup for Arozarena's replacement. Jose Caballero's back to kind of playing every day between third and shortstop.
Yep.
And running. So he's kind of back in my good graces. I think Ahmed Rosario had 2 bags today. He's not playing at all.
He did have 2 bags today.
Love the guy.
I'll say this much, and people that listen to this show long enough should know this is going to pain me to say. Brandon Lau is hitting the snot out of the baseball right now. He had a big game, another home run on Thursday, and in the month of July, Brandon Lau is hitting 267 with 5 home runs. He has 6 home runs now. He's like a 288 average after today. I was doing some stuff. That plays, folks. And he's widely available. His back will give out in the next week or two, so be prepared for that. But playing very well right now if you're looking for some pop in the middle infield with Brandon Lau. Texas Rangers, they have 6 games this week, 3 at the Cardinals, 3 at home versus Boston, 5 righties in those 6 games. But again, Texas, like the Leotes calmed down a lot. Evan Carter supposed to be back at the end of next week, so that'd be a guy to keep in mind. At least the goal is the end of next week. We'll see how that pans out. Josh Young starting his rehab assignment on Friday. That could affect maybe Justin Foscue, who's been getting a lot of DH run, and maybe Josh Smith. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces in Texas is what I'm trying to say.
Yep, I was going to ask you, since I didn't know what the rehab status was for Young and Evan Carter. I will I think Leody Taveras, he hasn't been that bad lately, man. He's got hit a homer and a steal this week, hitting 300 over the last month, 350 OBP. And I think the playing time as their regular center fielder is safe for now. So I still like Leody Taveras in the short term.
Toronto Blue Jays, 7 games coming up here. They go to Baltimore for 4 and then to the Bronx for 3. All road games for Toronto. 6 right-handed pitchers on tap, though, for the Jays to face. But, again, it's a team that might have some moving pieces and not a lot that gets me too excited here unless they're going for like a Horwitz or one of those kind of fringy guys, I should say.
No, it's another team where we have no idea what this lineup's going to look like after the trade deadline too. So could be a lot different. One thing I'll bring up with the Blue Jays, Chad Green is like maybe still their closer. We all thought Jimmy Garcia, once Jimmy Garcia came back off the IL, that he would step in and get the 9th. But Chad Green did convert the team's only save opportunity last Sunday. And granted, there may not be many save ops in Toronto, but it doesn't sound like it's a foregone conclusion that Jimmy Garcia is stepping right back into the 9th.
Yep, that's a very, very good call. I think I saw you tweet something about that the other day, so it got my attention when it was you or somebody else, but very good call on that one. Last team we have here is the Washington Nationals. 6 games coming up here, 3 at the D-backs, 3 at home versus the Brew Crew. 5 righties out of the 6 games for the Washington Nationals, but it's another team. Like last week had so many fun FAAB pickups. This week kind of feels a little dull. You going for any of these lefties in this weekend? For those that are rostering James Wood, buckle up. It's been an interesting ride.
James Wood, yeah, I had a tweet out about James Wood earlier today. I think had the 2nd highest exit velo of any hitter yesterday. So he made this list, and he's hitting the crap out of the ball. James Wood's hitting the crap out of the ball, but it's
on the ground.
It's a Framber Valdez of hitters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a 63% ground ball rate, which if I had to pick one for a young guy, launch angle or hitting the ball hard, I still think that's good for James Wood, just his skill to be able to do that. But would like to see a few less Ks and more loft from James Wood. I know I'm nitpicking. It's prospect first time around MLB, but hard contact's been there. Just give you a shout out for your Juan Yepez pick. That looks to be pretty solid as he's solidified in the 3-4 slot at first base for the Nationals going forward.
Yep, that's been fun, and still only 79% rostered, so available in a lot of 12s if you're looking for some corner infield help, because, you know, the best corner infield pickup, he's gone in Rowdy Tellez. No, Rowdy Tellez is only 55% rostered.
Yeah, you're overrating the guy, man. He has only 55.
Well, man, sometimes this game just makes me laugh. Just it's a fun game we play here.
100% rostered in Bubba leagues. But...
Heck yeah. Making that stuff happen makes you rethink, should I be rostered everywhere? But all right, that wraps up our position, our roster situation here, our schedule situation. Sorry, it's been a weird night with Randy. I'm still like checking stuff, and people are pretty high on Brody Hopkins. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, see, it
They like
seems
that.
the swell is coming back towards the in terms of who won the trade, which we won't know for 5
A
years.
lot of Brody Hopkins love out there, so that's maybe a positive. But all right, Ryan, let's talk about most added hitters from CBS over the last week, and the name up top doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yep, our weekly test here to see did we cover everyone. This is your guy Max Schumann, who flew under my radar until I start talking to you, so that's a good thing. Max Schumann is the top hitter add from 13 to 35%, and then your boy Tyler Fitzgerald from 1 to 23. Interesting to see. Well, yeah, 2 shortstops at the top. Schumann, Fitz. Who would you take?
Newman or Schumann. Schumann.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I take Edwards over Fitz, unless you needed power, and then you go Fitz. But if you just want like an overall guy that's going to play all year and have a really good floor, I take Edwards.
I like Edwards the most. Who is on this list from 10 to 22% CBS roster, and then Nacho Alvarez. So this is the biggest middle infield haul in terms of FAAB in a long time. So
and I want to give a shout. I want to give a shout here. Sorry, they got Jose Iglesias on this list. I dug into them for my little FAAB write-up last week because I was noticing in DFS, I'm like, man, he's producing, and the Mets offense is great. All these things. I know we didn't mention him earlier, but when you look at Jose Iglesias, he's playing nearly every day at second base with a little bit of third base also. So he's got second base, third base eligibility, which is pretty freaking awesome already. But in the month of July, dude's hitting 368 with 3 homers, 11 runs, 10 RBIs, and a stolen base. He's striking out less than 5% of the time. Like, he's actually playing very well. In a 15-team league, I think he's a phenomenal MICI target, especially with the red-hot Mets offense. 12s is a little tricky, but he could be a stream. Like, you can pick him up for $1, ride him while he's hot, and drop him. Like, it's a great late-season type situation. I did want to highlight seeing that name pop up here. Jose Iglesias is a fun guy to keep an eye on right now.
I'm lower on him than you are.
Oh, I'm expecting the shoe to drop. Like, I still think Edwards, Schumann, like, I get it. But like, in a world where we talk about how bad third base is, like, I'll take a chance on Jose Iglesias for a little while.
He's 34.
He's none of the age shaming around here. We talk
all about
this.
He's an old who has 3 homers and 100 plate appearances. Never really had much power. Jose, like, I'd put him, if I had like a bid list, it'd be much lower. And I'm not saying you had him up there with these guys.
I said for
much lower than the other guys, but yeah,
I said $1. But I just wanted to highlight him because he is worth at least not like completely ignoring.
He's hitting 380 this year. I can't crap on him too much.
Yep, that's valuable. That's valuable. Like, come on, you got Victor Robles right there for crying out loud.
Victor Robles is a good ad, dude.
Why is Joe Adell getting added again?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the rise with Joe Adell. I think he has 3 homers over the last month, but like nothing. He hasn't been awful. But he also hasn't been like, I don't get the sudden rise for Joe Adell. I think they had a 7-game week last week, but
you got Victor Robles is 10% roster to Adell's 33, Andujar's 22, Winslow Perez is 19. I take all 3 of them over Joe Adell.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
Another guy we hit on, Gavin Lux is crushing baseballs.
Gavin Lux is, however, and this is why we have these stats on the for the YouTube crowd on the screen. It's a 4% barrel rate. So on the season for Gavin Lux. So is he really crushing baseball? Well, he did have a good week. He did have
late is the key word there. And that's all I care about when I'm streaming right now. This is the time of the year that my DFS mind goes full bore. Like, let's just stream it and I'll drop you next Sunday if I have to.
Yep. So we've got Tyler Locklear, who we kind of glossed over with Seattle playing first base in the wake of Ty France, but I'm not going there at first base. I think you've got better options at first. We talked about Jason Dominguez, who's 48% rostered CBS, but that's keeper dynasty driven. If you have room to stash, Jason Dominguez could be an option. It to me, it seems like he's probably a month out, something like that. So if he even gets called out, I mean, the Yankees have been hesitant to call up Jason Dominguez even after he was back. So I don't know. Matt Vierling was I think an all righty play for Detroit last week. So
got that again this week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think it's 6 righties this week, right? So
yep, it's a good righty. It's like 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 7. So yeah, it's another good week.
23% strikeout rate, 10% barrel for Matt Vierling. So
he's got at least one home
skills.
this week. Yeah,
Yep.
I like him. And a lot of formats, he's third base outfield eligible.
It's true. It's true.
I think the Yankees bring up Jason because the offense is so dreadful right now. Like, it's horrific outside of Soto and Judge. I think Jason gets called up. I really do.
You're probably right. Yeah,
I think they have to, just because they need to make that push. I was looking at the OCs. I think he's like available everywhere because he didn't get drafted. So that's fun. If you can get him somewhere, go for it. But there's going to be a couple like him, Devin Williams, some other guys. There's going to be some interesting FAAB pickups here in the next few weeks.
Connor Norby's another guy on this list who just adds to that middle infield.
Lots of middle infield
that's our big takeaway, I guess, for this week for FAAB. It's if you need a middle infielder, this is your week. Or if you need some depth, we all could use some depth. And
that's a great point. Like, you might not need one right now, but we see how bad the position is. Don't be afraid to add one to your bench right now.
Exactly.
Like you're one injury away to crying again because there's no one.
I may think hard about taking a pitcher slot where I'm streaming and maybe getting one of these middle infielders while they're available right now. So
yep, I think that's a very good call on that one.
Jesus Sanchez is listed twice on this list for some reason, just because he has turned into a deity on the podcast, but only 14% rostered in CBS. So, any other hitter names that we glossed over?
Not really. Like Travis d'Arnaud's there, Suarez, Eugenio was doing his thing. Austin Wells, we talked. Like, most of these guys are, like Jacob Young's good to understand the love there. Angel Martinez, it's batting average at best. Like, so I think we hit the big ones. It's a very good middle infield league, like you mentioned. But I'll mention the names again: Victor Robles, Miguel Andujar, Winfield Perez. I know we mentioned a couple other guys. There are some decent, like Jesus Sanchez. There are some very decent streaming outfielders as well. So don't sleep on that. But it's a great middle infield league for sure.
And I will, we mentioned him earlier, but it's to drive it home recap style. Justin Henry Malloy is only 10% rostered in CBS and I think even lower in NFBC 12.
I'll check right now. I got him right now. 6%. 6%.
Single digit,
and that's I can't even spell now. He's third base and outfield. He's got it both. That's big. I like that quite a bit. So that'll be a fun one as well, and hopefully comes in nice and cheap and goes to show you that no one's paying attention to no season anymore. All right, what do you got for the pitching side of things? Because we got Luis Ortiz, who's that good.
There's two of him.
Let's talk Daniel Hudson. We kind of went over that briefly early in the show when we mentioned Evan Phillips pitched the 7th and Brent Honeywell got the save on Thursday. A lot of people were in on Daniel Hudson when Phillips, he's been bad, but Sunday was really bad last week. So people went crazy for Hudson there. Hudson got a save early in the week. How are you approaching this Dodgers situation?
So you say Phillips pitched the 7th. Hudson pitched the 6th.
Oh, I didn't even see that part. Goodness gracious.
So I believe that's right. Pitched the 6th, and he did pitch today. And so I have no idea what. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and predict. I don't know what LA. My hunch, if I had to guess, is Evan Phillips eventually slides back into the role with another good outing or two. Yes, Hudson did pitch
the 6th. Wow.
So that's my guess is Phillips comes back, but I don't know. I think early in the chat, Brent Honeywell had some saves in the minors this year, so maybe they're grooming him to be that. But my money would be on Evan Phillips regaining the role. I would not go super hard really on any, like on Honeywell, Hudson. I don't know if there's going to be a guy in LA.
Yeah, this is a rough list because we like Luis Ortiz. I don't mind him. Birdsong's pitching this weekend on a doubleheader, but he's probably back to AAA because it's just crowded unless they go 6-man rotation, which I don't know if they'll do. We mentioned River Ryan. That's a tough one. Ryan Nelson came back to earth this week as expected. You talked about Tyler Phillips. Chase McDermott went back to AAA, but he'll pitch in the doubleheader on Monday, but then probably go back to AAA because Baltimore's trading for a starting pitcher. The Tigers flat out said Jackson Jobe will not pitch in the bigs this year. The top of this chart is tough.
Yeah, and if the top is tough, the bottom is probably even tougher.
Like, I love Drew Thorpe. Drew Thorpe's down here. He's almost 50% though, so he'll be off the list pretty soon.
David Peterson's pretty safe in the Mets rotation. A few more strikeouts I want to say recently, but still on the year, a 6% strikeout to walk is really bad.
Victor
Vodnik.
He's been getting saves for Colorado.
If Colorado closers are your thing, which they shouldn't be, yeah. I mean, all roads lead back to Andrew Heaney.
Yep.
I mean, in all seriousness, like he is the one with these skills on this list. A 17% K to walk, missing a ton of bats, throwing strikes.
The bottom of this list is better than the top of this list.
And the bottom for the podcast folks, the bottom is the folks that are not as highly added. So these are like 2 to 4% rises in CBS ads, where the quote unquote top of the list, like Daniel Hudson was up 17%, Luis L. Ortiz 15%, Birdsong 14%, River Ryan 11%. So this bottom half of the list is kind of you're not as added players in CBS.
Yeah, and I'll mention Yariel Rodriguez went 5 2/3 again, got around the 80 pitch mark. So it's always going to be that just be efficient and he'll be fine. Kyle Freeland keeps pitching good. Like I said it last week, people we were kind of surprised digging in on that. And he gets the Giants again, so it's not like that's this weekend against the Giants. Who does he have next week? Looking at Colorado because they're on the road, which is beautiful. He gets the Angels, so that's not a bad matchup again. So Freeland could be a stream, like a legit stream. I know it sounds disgusting, but he could be a legit stream this week.
If we want to talk streams too, and we'll get to it with the two-step part, but Alec Marsh is back, 15% strikeout minus walk, but the two-step is at Chicago White Sox at Detroit Tigers. So I know the Tigers have been a little better lately, but that's a really good two-step for Alec Marsh.
Most definitely. Anything else on the pitching side? Cooper Criswell's down here. We talked about him earlier as another stream. Alex Cobb is either back Sunday or next week.
No, that's all I got.
All right, let's two-step it. Let's have some fun here. And I'm just going to say this now, folks. Massively subject to change.
Yeah.
Massively subject to change based on trades in the next couple of days. Just throwing that out there right now. But we'll start with the D-backs. Jomo versus Washington at Pittsburgh is a yes.
No.
Really? Versus Washington and at Pittsburgh, you're not starting Jordan Montgomery.
He's fresh off the IL, dude. He hasn't been good this year. You like him more than I do, I fully admit. I'm a no on Jomo. Just coming off the IL? I don't think so.
He pitched this past week.
He did?
In Kansas City. Yes. 5 innings.
What did he do? Give up 6 runs, 7 runs?
One run and 2 Ks.
Still lean no.
Screw
him and screw you.
I'm starting them. Atlanta Braves. This is one that I don't know what's good at. Darius Vines is technically lined up right now. I haven't even heard him getting promoted yet, and I do news every single day. So this will be an interesting one. Vines at Milwaukee versus Miami.
Totally missed that Jomo pitch. He had 2 strikeouts, dude.
That's what I told you.
Come on. Darius Vines? No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm not saying Darius Vines. You're going with Sale, though. Cade Povich versus Toronto at Cleveland.
No,
I'm not either. I'm not a Povich guy. Not going to happen. Cooper Criswell versus Seattle at Texas. You get the Mariners to start the week, but can you hang on for Texas?
Can you hang on? Will he even be in the rotation for Texas? I think you throw it no matter what for the Seattle start, and then if he gets a second start, great. If not, he probably pitched well against Seattle.
Yeah, because Boston is in the market for a starting pitcher, so Criswell really might not be there for Sunday's start. Cubs, Jamison Taillon and Justin Steele at Cincinnati versus St. Louis.
Yes and yes.
Yep. Frankie Montas, if he's still a Cincinnati Red, versus Chicago versus the Giants, both at Great American.
15s you do, I guess, but that's very risky.
Very, very risky. I'd probably just pass for my own sanity. Tanner Bybee at Detroit versus Baltimore. Yes. But it's tricky. It's tricky, but yes.
No, you're starting Tanner Bybee.
I'm skipping Ty Block. We don't have to discuss that. Jack Flaherty, if he's still a Tiger, you are playing that. No one in Houston. Kansas City, Alec Marsh, as you mentioned, at the White Sox, at Detroit. You liked that. Waka at Chicago, at Detroit. I like that as well. Waka's been really good again.
He's got the changeup. He doesn't have much else, but two-step. Just getting the White Sox and then getting an extra start on top of that is worth it for both Alec Marsh and Michael Waka.
Michael Waka, 100% rostered in OCs.
Really? I would have guessed lower.
Yeah, 100%.
What's Alec Marsh? I was expecting like
75% or something for Waka, but Marsh is 51.
Wow, man. All right, so they're not everyone's asleep at the wheel.
That's the Yepes versus Rowdy Tellez conversation right there. Like, what? So, Angels, Griffin Canning versus Colorado at the Mets. That's a no for me, dog.
Oh, it's a no.
Yeah. No one's for the Dodgers. Miami, Edward Cabrera at Tampa at Atlanta.
I mean, actually, like that sounds tough.
Bad.
But it's
That's
really not
good.
bad. But speaking of bad, it's Edward Cabrera.
It's really bad.
7 ERA. I still think the talent's there. It's just the walks. I would
pass.
I would pass.
Colin Ray versus Atlanta at Washington, and Ray's been good again for the last few starts.
Yeah, I'd throw it.
I'd throw it. He's been good enough. Simeon Woods Richardson at the Mets versus Chicago if he gets this 2-step.
Why wouldn't he?
Well, I mean, because the moving parts in the rotation.
Gotcha.
They get shuffled. Things. All I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah. No, I like Simeon Woods Richardson. The strikeouts aren't huge, but this is a guy 3.27 ERA on the year, pitching pretty well lately. So I would roll with it. Pretty decent matchups.
Yeah, he's got a Jomo-esque strikeout ability, so it makes sense. I would start
with half the ERA. I know I'm citing ERA to make my point, which is not good, but
it's not your selling point. That's a caveman logic right there. So watch out.
I can't wait till Jomo gets torched, man. You're getting that text on Monday.
Trust me, if he doesn't, you're getting one too, buddy. Yankees, Luis Eel at Philly versus Toronto.
Yeah, I think you throw it. I mean, you have to. It's been we have seen the best of Luis Eel, but you still throw this.
Zach Wheeler, you're starting. Paul Skeens, you're definitely starting. Lucas Gilbert, you're starting. Okay, Andre Palante and Lance Lynn versus Texas at the Cubs.
In 15s, I think I am.
In 15s and 12s, if you really need counting stats. If you kind of give it up on ratios, I'm okay with doing it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a little bit like it's shallow of us to just say yes, no. I mean, look at your standings. Do you need wins and Ks? Do you need to protect your ratios? It is that time of year to start planning that out. But in a vacuum, I'd start both Palante and Lynn if you need those counting stats.
Yep, Nady Eovaldi, you're starting. Yuriel Rodriguez at Baltimore and at the Yankees. Oh, Baltimore's quieted down a bit too, but still very good.
Dude, yeah. I don't think I can throw it. I don't.
Yankees suck though, man.
I know, but like, that's tough. I lean no with Yuriel Rodriguez.
Yeah,
and I like him.
I like him a lot, but he's gonna be so efficient, and the Orioles take pitches, so. Soto.
Yeah, my man's going to be at about.
Soto might take 40 of the 80 pitches from him.
My man's going to be at 82 pitches and 2 2/3.
This is one of those where I'm saying sit. I know I'm going to regret it though because he is that good. Like he could deal, but yeah, I'd sit him just because I think this gets rough. Mitchell Parker at Arizona versus Milwaukee.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you do as well.
Like
he got torched by the Padres, but I think you go back to the well on that one.
Yep. All
right, got a couple listener questions here before we head on out of another fun-filled FAAB show here. Bullpen Guru was spending $70 for Daniel Hudson a bad move, asking for people who did this.
Right, yeah. So we just covered that. And actually, Michael in the chat chimed in. Tanner Scott will be closing in LA, and that's probably someone not on the roster right now is probably their closer in August, September. So yes, that amount of FAAB on Daniel Hudson. You know, we all have regrets, myself included.
Joe G said, "Time to drop Kierstead. I've got Friedel coming back."
Yes,
it is. Steve Brunn says, "Where will Davison De Los Santos factor in FAAB this week in leagues where he's eligible? I think he'll be very popular because he's got that first base and a lot of pop."
He's got to play though. I mean, that's the thing. Is Josh Bell going to get traded?
If Bell gets traded this weekend, I think Bell gets traded anyways by the end. So I'd at least speculate on him, so you might get him cheaper if Bell doesn't get traded until next week. That's a plus.
Yep.
But it's also like Steve said, it's where available, and like NFBC, he's not available.
So tout. I mean, we're in tout together. The league, the league rule. The one wrinkle with tout is if you pick him up, you have to start him that week. knowing what we know now, would you even bid on De Los Santos, knowing you had to start him the following week?
If I needed power in that league and a corner infielder, yes, I would. Yes,
What if you were on, what if you were on your cell phone?
No, because we don't do on Roto on our phone. We don't. No, we don't.
Just
Only
checking,
Joe Rico
just
does.
checking how badly you want.
No, we
Just
don't.
checking.
We don't do that.
Yeah.
Joe G has another question for us here. Xavier Edwards for the tough stolen bases and average categories. So it's more of a comment. And yes, we agree with you, Mr. Joe G. All right, Ryan, that'll wrap us up on another week of FAAB. Any final thoughts? It's a weird week, and I know we kind of got derailed tonight, or at least I got us derailed with the Arozarena news, but that was fun. Right in the middle of the show.
Mid pod trades are always welcome, but did derail us a little. Actually, you got me back on because I was talking Will Brennan, so thank you for doing that.
Yeah, no, it was fun to see, like, especially because it was a name like that. At first, I'm thinking, it's gonna be like, some reliever or something. No, that was a big one. That was a big one. Randy Arozarena was a good one. Michael C. real quick says, "Are you guys stashing anyone?" I think I have some Josh Young still because I was an idiot and didn't ever drop them, but because I was always optimistic. But I'm not really stashing much right now.
Not much either. I just unstashed Tristan Casas, who I think just today had a
positive
report on his thing,
out of nowhere.
No
out
idea.
of nowhere. That's going to be in my news and notes from the night. It's kind of an out of nowhere. Actually taking real batting practice and might start a rehab assignment sometime this weekend.
Yeah, I mean,
nowhere.
My thing in general with stashes, that did. I saw that. I was like, come on. I had him. I think I stashed him for like at least a month.
I was literally debating. He was on my drop list for this weekend.
In general, I'm pretty anti-stash at this point in the season. You've got to be reasonably confident they're back within 2-3 weeks, or else you're wasting half the season waiting for a guy who may or may not come back in that month, or if he does, what does he look like, coming back? So I am more ruthless going forward these next few weeks and not stashing folks.
Yeah, like for me, it's like I would have been like a week ahead and stashed like Robbie Ray, but not like a month ahead. Those kind of things I'd stash, but I'm not doing the long term. I'm not like he said Michael Harris.
Like
I'm not stashing Michael Harris. He's still like at least 3 or 4 weeks out. That's without a setback.
You talked about Erod and Merrill Kelly before. I think they're just too, and they're pitchers. I think they're just too far out to. Yeah,
like I need to see signs of life that you're like a week away, maybe 2 weeks max, and you're actually healthy. Like I'll give it a shot, but otherwise I'm not. I need every roster spot because when Friday comes around and I reset my lineups, I need options. It's that time to go. And especially, each league we talk about team dependencies. A lot of my leagues are struggling in hitting. Pitching's been, knock on wood, good this year. So I want as many guys as I can flip in and out for both halves of the week right now. So
Scott in the chat. What's up, Scott, who joined us at first pitch? Yamamoto. He's another one I would not stash.
Yamamoto says he's hoping to pitch by the end of the season.
Right. And LA will optimize him for the playoffs.
Yeah, we've already mentioned all the options that LA has in that rotation right now. There's no need to rush him back. Not a thing. So
yeah. Just to wrap things. Speaking of Scott in the chat, Scott did join us in our foursome at First Pitch Arizona last year at the Bubba and the Bloom Invitational. So I'll use that springboard just to remind folks, if anyone's interested in First Pitch, talk to me, talk to Bubba if you have questions. And at Baseball HQ, October 31st through November 3rd, it's going to be an awesome freaking time, and I can't wait.
Yep, it's going to be here before we know it. We've had our flights booked for a while. Now it's time to actually get hotels and everything as things are moving along. So pretty pumped on this one. Clubs are ready. Need to start playing some more again. It's been a while, but looking forward to sitting there and just hanging out with people, talking baseball, having a few noons, and enjoying stuff. And you get the little November action, small diamonds. It's a really cool atmosphere. So, and like I've said before, it's not just for fantasy, it's for anybody who just likes baseball in general. So come check it out. It's a lot of fun. All right, that'll wrap us up, folks. We'll be back to you guys on Tuesday for all of the trades that take place after we go off the air tonight through Tuesday's deadline. That happens at like 6 Eastern. So there'll be time for everything to breathe by the time we get on the air. There'll be like 17 live streams that'll be over by then, and we'll be bringing it for you later that evening right here. So hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll have some fun there. Check out Ryan on Twitter at RyanBHQ, the podcast at Bubba Bloom Pod. I am at BDintric. Until next time, this is Bubba and the Bloom, episode 155. Catch y'all later.